It's almost blackberry season here in PA, and blackberries always remind me what got me into food growing in the first place. I think everybody has an origin story, why they choose to grow their own food or be connected with food, and I'd like to share mine with you. A couple years out of college, I was working at an investment bank, and I got a call from my friend Derek one day who said he was preparing to leave his job and he was going to plan a road trip around the country. It was an easy sell for me. I knew the path I was on, I probably wasn't going to stay on. I was an aspiring musician with my friend Teddy, who ended up joining us for the trip, and action, adventure, inspiration seemed pretty exciting to us. So we ended up going on a 6-month road trip around the country, seeing national parks, playing about 30 different gigs at bars and restaurants and farmers markets and things. We lived out of this little crossover SUV with our clothes, some tents, which we camp most of the time, a guitar amp, couple guitars, a microphone, and made do. So we did pretty much a lap around the country for 6 months. And at the time, I wasn't very connected to food or food growing at all. Derek and Teddy, however, had a connection to food. Derek was a vegetarian at the time and negotiating kind of with the morality of things. And Teddy had some chronic health issues going on, so he was very conscious about trying different things, like what he's putting in his body, where his food comes from. He had experimented in a lot of ways and was just very in touch with what was going into his body and his health. So I was exposed to that right away, kind of the personal and human aspects of food and how we interact with it. And one of the themes throughout the trip we encountered was all these people in different pockets of the country, living off the land or interacting with food in unique and inspirational ways. From large-scale farms to kind of homesteads, we were exposed to all different types of philosophies and techniques with food growing, whether it be the preparation of food and how it relates to health, or sustainable farming practices, or land stewardship and community. So we got all this exposure to all different windows into the food system and our relationship to it. And for me, it really culminated in Northern California. We stayed at this place, Willow Creek, California, which is in Northern California. We had a gig at the farmers market in town, so we rolled into town as complete strangers to play this farmers market. We ended up staying for about 2 weeks on a campsite in the woods in Willow Creek, California. And blackberries run wild up there, and there were blackberries all over the campsite. And every morning I would go for breakfast and pick a little bucket of blackberries to share with the guys. That's actually the closest I've ever been to a black bear. Was in one of those blackberry patches about 10 feet away. We were both doing the same thing in the morning and kind of startled each other. We played the farmers markets. We rolled into town, and it was blackberry season, obviously, so there was actually a blackberry baking challenge. So people from the town brought baked goods, blackberry baked goods, to the farmers market, and we emceed and judged the best baked goods. And the townspeople there were so hospitable, and we made quick friends. And the people who ran the farmers market, Jock and Amy, from an outfit called Newcomb Family Farm up there in Northern California. Beautiful organic orchardists and organic farmers in this beautiful valley in Northern California. They were so hospitable to us and used to take us food at the campsite from the farm, feed us dinners. And we linked up with some of the farm hands there, and they would take us whitewater rafting and just befriend us along the way. And one night we went over there, and this is where it really started to synthesize for me. One night we went over to the farm, table in the middle of the orchard, and they served us homegrown food, heirloom tomatoes, these Walla Walla onions fresh out of the ground, which are these like sweet onions you can almost bite like an apple, fresh made goat cheese right from the farm. And we had ourselves a little dinner in community, in the orchard around dusk. And community, was a big missing aspect, I think, of connecting all these dots of the food system. And it really synthesized and inspired me when I got home, my little postage stamp backyard in Manayunk, to start experimenting, throw some plants in the ground and tinkering and experiencing homegrown food for myself. So that's my story. Would love to hear about yours.